No. In 12 years of this government, the number of children in care has skyrocketed from about 5,000 to about 10,000. The Premier's government has taken so many kids away from their families that more than 7% of children have been in care by the age of 7. The Premier's been apprehending children rather than supporting children and families. The Premier's failure to support families is obvious in the dramatic 500% increase in the number of families who are so poor that they have to use food banks. The Premier's failure to support children and families is obvious in his failure to ensure all those living in northern communities have access to running water. Why is the Premier not acting to support children and families in Manitoba?
Mr. Speaker, I appreciate the question from the member for River Heights because it focuses on a topic that's very important to Manitobans, reducing poverty among families. We have reduced poverty among single parents in Manitoba by 57%. That's been done over the last 12 years, and the member has voted against every measure we have taken to support families in Manitoba. We added back the National Child Benefit that was clawed back from people on social assistance by the members of the opposition party. We've added that back. The member from River Heights voted against that. We've provided a family benefit that applies to working families, low-income working families. All members on the opposite side of the House voted against that. We've dramatically expanded the Healthy Child program in Manitoba so that we provide prenatal benefits, home visiting, and nursing services to young families when they're getting started. It's considered one of the best programs in the country, and we've more than doubled the number of day care spots in Manitoba, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, Marnie Brownell, a senior research scientist at the Manitoba Centre for Health Policy, and a prestigious international journal, Lancet, has said there's no evidence the Premier's policy of taking lots and lots of kids into care rather than supporting families is working. Indeed, yesterday, when I asked, the Premier said he's putting $90 million into an East Side road and more into training, but he's not putting money directly into ensuring no families are without running water. Why is the Premier ready to support everything else but ensuring families have access to the clean running water, to have a shower, to wash their hands, to keep clean and well? When will the Premier act to support one of the most critical and basic rights, the right to clean running water?
Mr. Speaker, again, I do appreciate the question. We do support that in an unprecedented way. The road on the east side provides the access for goods and services to those communities at a much lower price than having to fly them in. The training that's being provided to people so that they can install clean water and clean sewage treatment systems in their communities is essential to ensure that the employment opportunities go to the people in the area and they have the skills on how to install these kinds of facilities and maintain them in the future. Those are fundamental commitments that we've made. The federal government last fall indicated, after the Deputy Premier met with the Minister of Aboriginal Affairs, that they would make some additional investment in that community. We know it's not sufficient. We said we will go with you every step of the way and provide additional investment on our side of the House. We are committed to working towards reducing the number of families in First Nations communities that do not have access to clean water or sewage. We will do it through training. We will do it through infrastructure investments, both roads and as well as airlines, and we will take any necessary additional measures that we can to ensure that those families get treated equitably with everybody else.
Mr. Speaker, the Premier said he'll support roads and training, but there's an urgent need to ensure families have clean running water. His government has been aware of, for many years, the successful Ontario-Canada partnership set up on Bob Rae's initiative in the 90s, which brought running water to Ontario First Nations communities. The Premier has failed to act to have a Manitoba-Canada partnership. The partnership's essential because the federal government supports running water to the community, but not the needed retrofits to homes so they can use the running water. I asked the Premier, how many dollars has he allocated in this year's budget to retrofit homes in First Nations communities so that they will have running water?
Mr. Speaker, we've been very proactive in offering a partnership with the federal government to resolve this problem in First Nations communities in Manitoba. We've been active in meeting with them, asking them for meetings, putting resources on the table so that they would move their resources along more rapidly and in a more timely fashion. We've acted in terms of training. We've acted in terms of infrastructure. We've said that we'll work with you every step of the way to ensure those facilities are installed in communities in Manitoba and First Nations communities where they do not have access to running water or clean sewage treatment facilities. We know it is a basic human right to have access to those things, and we want to work with the federal government to achieve that. Every time they step up to the table, we were already there and we're willing to work with them. The member knows that, and I just have to say, when he was a member of the federal cabinet, he did not take the opportunity to solve this problem. Unfortunately, it still lingers in Manitoba. We're willing to do our share at this level of government. We need a federal government to go with us.